Hi there, welcome back to American Lingo Academy. I'm Luna, and today we're going to learn 10 super useful phrasal verbs that native English speakers use all the time in everyday conversation. I'm going to explain each one very clearly and give you real examples so you can start using them right away. Okay, let's get started. Number 1, creep out. This phrasal verb means to make someone feel uncomfortable, scared, or a little bit nervous in a strange way. When something creeps you out, it gives you an uneasy feeling. It's not exactly scary like a horror movie, but it makes you feel weird or uncomfortable. We use this expression a lot when talking about things or people that seem strange or make us nervous. For example, imagine you're walking home late at night and you notice someone is following you at a distance. That situation would definitely creep you out. You might tell your friend later, "That guy walking behind me really creeped me out. I was so relieved when I got home safely." Here's another one. Let's say you're watching a movie and there's a character who stares at people without blinking. You might turn to your sister and say, "This character really creeps me out. Something about the way he looks at people makes me uncomfortable." Number 2, creep out on. This phrasal verb means to secretly watch someone or look at someone's social media, photos, or personal information without them knowing. It's kind of like being a little bit nosy about someone's life. We often use this when we're curious about someone and want to know more about them, especially on social media platforms like Instagram or Facebook. For example, imagine your coworker mentions she went to the same high school as your favorite musician. Later, you go on Instagram and look through all of her old photos. The next day, you laugh and say, "I spent an hour creeping out on Sarah's Instagram. I wanted to see if she had any photos with that singer." Here's another one. Let's say your friend is going on a first date with someone she met online. She spends the evening looking at all his Facebook photos. When you call her, she admits, "I've been creeping out on his Facebook for the past hour. I just want to make sure he seems like a good person." Number 3, creep over. This phrasal verb means to slowly move closer to someone or something, usually in a quiet or careful way. It can also mean that a feeling or emotion slowly comes over you. The key idea here is that something happens gradually and quietly, not all at once. We use this when describing slow movement or when feelings develop little by little. For example, imagine you're reading a book when you hear a strange noise in the kitchen. You slowly and quietly move toward the kitchen to see what's happening. Later, you tell your roommate, "When I heard that noise, I creeped over to the kitchen as quietly as possible. It was just the cat." Here's another one. Let's say you're sitting outside on a beautiful evening. As the sun goes down, you start to feel cold. You might say to your cousin, "I can feel the cold starting to creep over me. I think I'm going to grab a sweater." Number 4, creep up on. This phrasal verb means to approach someone or something quietly and carefully so they don't notice you, or it can mean that something happens gradually without you realizing it until suddenly it's there. We use this expression when talking about surprises, sneaking up on people, or when time and events happen faster than we expected. For example, imagine it's your best friend's birthday and you're throwing her a surprise party. When she walks in, everyone is hiding. You all creep up on her and yell surprise. Later, she laughs and says, "You guys totally creeped up on me. I had no idea anyone was here." Here's another one. Let's say you've been really busy and suddenly you realize Christmas is only 2 weeks away. You might call your sister and say, "I can't believe how fast December creeped up on me this year. Christmas is in 2 weeks and I haven't even started shopping yet." Now, before we continue, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We upload new videos every single day to help you improve your English. Okay, let's keep going. Number 5, crop up. This phrasal verb means that something happens or appears suddenly, usually something you weren't expecting. These are often problems, questions, or issues that come up without warning. We use this expression a lot in everyday conversation when we're talking about unexpected situations or things that need our attention. For example, imagine you planned a weekend trip to the beach, But then on Friday, your boss calls and says there's an emergency at work. You tell your family, "I'm so sorry, but something cropped up at work and I can't go on the trip anymore." Here's another one. Let's say you're in a meeting and your teacher is explaining a new project. You suddenly think of a question. You raise your hand and say, "A question just cropped up while you were explaining. Could you tell me again when this project is due?" Number 6. Cross off. This phrasal verb means to draw a line through something on a list to show that it's finished or completed. When you cross something off, you're marking it as done. We use this expression all the time when we're talking about to-do lists, shopping lists, or any kind of list where we need to keep track of tasks. For example, imagine you made a list of 10 things you need to do today. Every time you finish one task, you draw a line through it. By the end of the day, you tell your friend, "I was able to cross off 8 things from my to-do list today. I only have 2 more tasks left." Here's another one. Let's say you're planning a wedding and you have a huge list of things to organize. After weeks of hard work, you finally send out all the invitations. You say to your partner, "Finally, we can cross off sending invitations from our wedding list. That was such a big task, and I'm so glad it's done." Number 7. Cross out. This phrasal verb means to draw a line through words or text to show that they're wrong or that you don't want them anymore. It's very similar to cross off, but we usually use cross out when we're talking about mistakes or things we want to remove from writing. It's about making corrections or changes to written text. For example, imagine you're writing an essay and you write a sentence that doesn't make sense. You draw a line through it and write a better one. You explain, "I didn't like how I explained that idea, so I crossed out the old sentence and wrote a new one." Here's another one. Let's say you're making a grocery list and you write down milk, eggs, bread, and bananas. But then you remember you just bought bananas yesterday. You take your pen and draw a line through bananas. You say, "I crossed out bananas because we already have some at home." Number 8. Cross up. This phrasal verb means to confuse someone or to trick them by doing something they didn't expect. When you cross someone up, you're making them uncertain, or you're causing them to make a mistake, because they thought you were going to do something different. We use this expression in sports, games, and everyday situations where there's an element of surprise. For example, imagine you're playing basketball and you're dribbling toward the basket. The defender thinks you're going left, so they move that direction, but you quickly move right instead. After the game, your friend says, "You really crossed me up with that move. I was sure you were going left." Here's another one. Let's say you told your coworker you would send a report on Friday afternoon, but you finish early and send it Thursday morning instead. She messages you and says, "You crossed me up by sending that report a day early. I wasn't ready to review it yet, but I'm actually happy to get started sooner." Number 9. Cruise through. This phrasal verb means to do something easily and smoothly without any problems or difficulties. When you cruise through something, it feels effortless and simple. We use this expression when talking about tasks, tests, projects, or any activity that goes really well without stress or trouble. For example, imagine you studied really hard for your math exam. When you take the test, every question feels easy. After the exam, you say happily, "That test was so much easier than I expected. I cruised through it in 30 minutes. Here's another one. Let's say you have to drive to a city 2 hours away and you're worried about traffic. But the roads are completely clear. You arrive feeling relaxed and call your friend to say, "I cruised through the whole trip without any problems. There was barely any traffic." Number 10. Crumb down. This phrasal verb means to break something into small pieces or crumbs, or it can mean that something falls apart or breaks down into smaller parts. We often use this when talking about food that breaks into crumbs, or when describing things that gradually fall apart or deteriorate over time. For example, imagine you baked cookies yesterday and left them on the counter. Today they're too dry and hard. When you try to take a bite, the cookie crumbs down in your hand. You say these cookies got too old. When I tried to eat one, it just crumbed down everywhere. Here's another one. Let's say you have an old notebook you've been using for years. One day, some pages start to tear and break off. You show it to your friend and say, "My favorite notebook is finally crumbing down after all these years. I think I need to get a new one soon." And that's it. We've covered 10 really useful phrasal verbs today. I hope these examples helped you understand how native speakers use these expressions. Try to use one or two of these in your own sentences this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with another lesson. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.